Hello and welcome to Muse Collective. This channel is dedicated to open source models, specifically ComfyUI, and I am starting this video as a step-by-step guide to create images using ComfyUI. If you've never used ComfyUI before, it's an open source model that is extremely popular. It looks a little bit daunting to use at first. I can testify to that. I started using it about a year ago and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. But now I use workflows on a daily basis, and it's just one of those things that once you've sort of learned the foundations, you get used to it. And that's what this episode is about, the foundations of creating a workflow. Now, most of you, if you've used any kind of AI before, it's possibly a subscription model. So you go onto a platform and you can choose a model, type in a prompt, and it outputs some sort of image or video or sound. This is pretty much the same. The difference is you can create the models from scratch, you can choose the settings, you can edit the settings. If the generation doesn't come out the way you want it to, you can try again, and it doesn't cost you any credits. This platform, as it's open source, is free of charge. The only thing you really need is a decent-ish GPU, decent computer, that can run the different models. You can get away with smaller GPUs like 8 gig or 12 gig, but once you get onto larger models and large generations, then you do need something a little faster. I'm running on a 5090, which is pretty high spec for a desktop computer. Okay, so this video is about creating a very basic text-to-image workflow. And we're going to use a model called Z-Image Turbo. And this is a really good realism model in terms of people and generating people. And it's a really fast model as well. It's also one of the smaller models and can be run on computers with lower VRAM, like 8 gig, 12 gig. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now the first thing I'm going to do is we are going to get rid of this. So to do that, we're just going to select all and hit delete. And we're going to start with a blank canvas. And first of all, we're going to need a diffusion model. So a diffusion model is a type of AI that powers image generation. So it works by learning to remove noise from a randomly noisy image until a clear image emerges. Our image workflows all use diffusion models. In fact, the video workflows do too. So we're going to need a load diffusion model node. So you can double click on the canvas and we can just start typing load diff. There we go at the top. So we're going to put that one there, and we're going to use Z-Image Turbo. So we're going to use this one. Now I'm just going to place the models on first, and then we'll get to wiring them all together. So the next thing we're going to need is a clip node. The clip model basically converts the text from your prompt into numbers that the model can understand. So let's double click on the canvas again, and we want a load clip. There we go, and that's going to go there. And for this one, we are going to need that one there. So the next node we're going to need is a VAE, which stands for Variational Auto Encoder. So this one converts the images between pixel space and latent space. So we'll double click here. VAE, load VAE. And we're going to pop that one there. And we're going to use this one. Okay. Next, we're going to need somewhere to feed our positive prompt. So we're going to need this one. That's a clip text encode, and we're going to use a second one as well. So we'll just clone that. So when we create a workflow, we need a positive and negative prompt. Now, the Z-Image Turbo model basically doesn't need a negative prompt, but we still have something wired up there. So let's just change these to make it easier. So positive, and then we'll have red as negative. So we'll put those ones there. Then we're going to need an empty latent space. Empty latent image, sorry. Okay, and this is where we can change our resolution. Now, you can just type numbers into here for different resolutions and different heights and widths, but I like to use this other node, which makes it a little simpler. So we're going to use the flux res calc, and that's going to go on the front here, and we're just going to wire that into there and there. And what I like about this node is you can change the megapixels, and you can also, it also has the aspect ratios already set. So it's got portrait ones, and then it's got landscape ones. So, and with this now connected to here, it's gonna, we just use this, we don't need to use this now. And I prefer to have this on 16. And I kind of prefer to have that on 2.5, to be fair. Okay, so we next need a KSampler. So basically, that's going to go there. All these nodes in the model and the clip and the VAE are all going to pass through the KSampler, which is going to denoise the image. So if you imagine your image at the beginning is like white noise on a television, and your prompt and your other different models decode that into an actual image. So your model is kind of like the brains of it all. Your clip decodes what the prompt is telling, is what the prompt you're using. Sorry, and then this goes into the KSampler as conditioning, and then the KSampler denoises that image into a final image. Makes more sense when we put it together. So what we're going to do here is we're going to connect the model. So we're going to push that over to model. We're going to put the clip in here, and we're going to put the clip in here. We are going to change that as well. Where are you? There. And then this is going to go into the positive. This is going to go into the negative. We're going to close this down because I'm not going to use it for anything else. And then this latent here is going to go into there. And then we need something to decode it. So pull this out from here, VAE Decode. So that's going to go there. And this is going to go to there. And then once we've got it decoded, we need to be able to see it. So we're going to do a save image node, which is going to go there. And we'll pop that out like that. Now, we could run this as it is. It won't do very much, but at the moment it is wired up. Excuse me. We need a prompt, and we also need to configure the KSampler. So different models have different specifics that they run on here. So, for example, Z-Image Turbo, as a turbo model, it can denoise in 9 steps, sometimes 8. CFG, so this is your guidance, and different models use different levels of guidance, but this particular model uses a guidance of 1. And then we've got the sampler and scheduler, and these two things render the image in different ways. Euler is one of the probably the most popular ones to use, and simple is just a basic version. Denoise, so this is how much of that noise gets taken away to generate the image. We're going to leave it at 1 for now, and all we now need is a prompt. So let's have a look. So let's just type something basic in. A man walking a dog in a park on a bright summer's day. Very basic prompt, but let's see what it does. So if we hit run, you can see the green boxes are where it's loading up the models and it's going through. KSampler is where it's starting to generate the image, and then when it gets to here, it's going to be decoding the image. And the first time these things run, they do take a little bit longer because they've got to load up into the VRAM, which is your GPU's memory. But you can see once it starts, it goes pretty quick. And it's decoded, and there we go. So we've got a basic image of a man on a summer's day walking a dog in a park. And if we go in close, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's very photorealistic. We've got a little bit of depth of field where we blurred out the background. Everything's concentrating on the pair of them walking through the park. It's a good image. And we can try again with a different aspect ratio. So that was a square. If we want to try something it's a little bit Instagrammy, we can do 9:16, which is a tall, thin image. And we've got a man and a dog walking away from camera. Okay, so a couple of things to look at on here. So the KSampler, we mentioned all these bits, but we didn't mention these top two. So we've got seed, which each image generated generates its own seed. So it's kind of like a tag for this image. So if we were to use this identical seed again and not change anything else within the workflow, we will get an identical image. If we change some of the wording on here, or if we change the resolution, even if we use the same seed, we'll get a slightly different image. At the moment, it's set to random, so every time we click run, we get a different number. Hence, we get a different image. There we go. If we were to click this to fixed and generate again, you'll get a different image there. Now if we click it again, the workflow doesn't run because it's already generated the image, and this particular seed, as it is now fixed with these particular settings, will only generate this image. If we change something in the prompt, so if we do a rainy summer's day, and generate again, it will generate because we've changed something there. There we go. Got a dog a little bit lost there. I love how we're getting the back of the heads of a lot of people as well. And that's just down to the prompt. It says a man walking a dog. It doesn't say which way he's facing. Okay, so that is a basic workflow, text to image, and other than this node here, which we haven't touched on, there's not really much else to say about it. Now this batch size, all that does is generate, for example, now 3 images on the same run. But obviously that's going to take slightly longer as it's going to output 3 images. So it's going to go a little bit slower. A lot slower. This is as well partly because I've put the megapixels up to 2.5. If we knock it down to 1, it'll run a lot faster. There we go. So we've got 3 different men walking dogs, none of which have their face to us. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do on here is have a face. Man walking a dog in a park on a rainy summer's day. He is walking towards camera. And I'm going to knock this down to 1 just so the generation's that bit faster. Now obviously when you knock it down to 1, it's also going to change the quality of the image slightly. There we go. All 3 men are walking towards camera. There we go. Brilliant. Okay, well, I hope this was helpful. I do want to do more videos and build on this workflow or workflows that are similar to this to give you more scope as to what you can actually achieve through ComfyUI. As I mentioned, this is basic, but as I also mentioned, if you've got the right kind of GPU, it's also free. You could sit here all day generating a man in a park with dogs, and it will not cost you a penny. The next workflow, we will probably move on to an image-to-image workflow, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye bye for now.